Ray. Tell me your name first.
Oh. You know who I am, Maddie.
Yeah. No.
Come on.
I know who you are.
I'm just kidding. I'm Ray. It says right here. Hi, everybody. I'm Ray. You might know me from Vintage Bass Vault. Now this is why this bass fit in there too. I just told you it was probably a Telecaster bag. We have a short scale bass. Daphne blue on this Music Master. There's the original color, the Daphne blue. And then the rest of this turning almost like a, you can really see on the back, a swampy kind of green. Short scale bass. These came out in, this is a 74. They were introduced in 71. And these were introduced as student model basses. And to make it affordable, they used a lot of cheaper parts and existing parts. Talk about using parts that they already have. Instead of designing a new bass pickup for this, this is actually a Stratocaster pickup. 6-pull-piece Stratocaster pickup. So pretty interesting. I'll let you check out the sound of this. So I kind of dig it just because it's different. But a lot of these basses, they didn't really skimp on the neck. I love this neck, it feels great. And you'll see a lot of these basses modded because of that Stratocaster, and they want to put bass pickups in there. I mean, for a Strat pickup, it's kind of crazy, you know? We have reached the 60s. All right, let's check this out. So this is a 1967 Fender Mustang bass. So the Fender Mustang bass in Dakota Red. And these came out in 66, so this is a real early one. We have not a Stratocaster pickup. We have bass pickups, but the split, kind of like the P-bass of sorts. So this is a 30-inch scale, and what's cool about this is you're probably noticing this has the strings through the body. Another thing that some people may not know, the different tuners. If you've never seen these before, you're probably wondering what these tuners are. And this is a departure from the Clover style tuners, and these tuners, the oval tuners, are referred to as lollipop tuners or paddle tuners, but really cool. And they had this design for a while on these Mustangs and jazz basses, and they started in 66 through 67, and I've seen a couple 68s with them. But if you do see these vintage instrument with these lollipop tuners, chances are it's 66, 67. Neck, again, 66, rest of the bass, 67. So I'd probably refer to it, probably, you know, came for sale, it's in 67. So, but still very early, 1966 when these came out. And let's check this out. Great little tone to them. All right, let's see what we got next here. Here we have a Fender Precision Bass, 1966. This bass, let's see, 66, this is a CBS bass. Like I was saying, Fender was sold to CBS in 65. So in 66, we're in like full production. And you'll find a lot of instruments in 66 because they really upped the production that Leo was doing, understandably, and put a lot of money into production. So a lot of instruments came out of 1966. The pickguards on some of these vintage instruments, you know, over time, that's another thing that happens is you'll see a lot of them cracked, and here it's even broke because they shrink in time. They just when they age. And the P bass, this is a C neck, so it's a pretty wide neck. The interesting thing, let you see this, the back of this. See that wear there, typical buckle rash, but just beautiful. And while we're looking at this, if you've ever wondered about this, we have a strap button on the headstock, and this is actually, no joke, I believe it's referred to as the hootenanny button. I don't make this stuff up, guys. The hootenanny button. With doing the vintage thing, I've really come to embrace P basses, so my plan is now to add a lot more P basses to my collection. I just loved the jazz bass so much, it just kind of got a little overshadowed when it certainly shouldn't, because these basses are amazing, as you guys well know. Let's see what we got in here. Yeah, so 66, surf green, early refin. 66, like I was talking about, we got the lollipop tuners there, or paddle tuners. One thing, another way that you can tell the CBS Fender is right away is those paddle tuners. We're talking about 66, so they acquired Fender in 65. And they added binding to the necks. And you can see that white strip there. I got this bass in New York from a friend of mine, Lior. Shout out to LK Straps. And he's a vintage bass enthusiast as well, and he's got a cool collection. And you know, just like all of us, unfortunately, sometimes we gotta thin the herd, you know. This was one of them that he was talking to me about, that he was thinking about getting rid of, and when I saw it, I just fell in love with the surf green. 66 is my birth year, so that's why I have the 66 Precision, 66 Jazz. That's kind of what got me started in the whole vintage thing, was wanting a jazz that was my birth year. So let's give this a listen. Let's see what we got next here. I was told that this was a candy apple red, which it's clearly not. Doesn't have that metallicness in there. You can see here, I got this bass from Mexico, and the wear on here, if you start really looking close, and don't freak out, guys, I didn't do it. I actually think it's pretty awesome. It's cool, but for the purists out there, with these basses, it's interesting because you got to remember when they came out, people aren't paying much attention to, you know, or very few people of like, hey, this is gonna be worth a lot of money later, and this is, you know, this, that, and the other, and they just want players, and they do different things on a whim, and you know, let's strip it, let's sand it, let's mod it, you know. I really think that I've seen enough of them that I think this is a refin. I don't know when, but it's just a heavy relic. I really think that's what it is. I don't think it's any part original. I think even with the headstock, they did that as well. But you know what? It helps me sleep better at night to know that this was done on purpose and not just kind of sort of a whim that, hey, let's sand the back of that finish on that bass.
What would you say is that color underneath the red? Is that primer? Or
it's a primer, okay. Yeah. If you love relics and you love that worn, it doesn't get any more worn than this. And I gotta tell you, this bass, is one of my favorites to play. I just love this bass. It feels good. It plays great. The F plate on here, and the bridge has seen its days too. All right, guys, any guesses to this? What do we got here? Yeah, exactly. I just did that too. I just laughed. Fiesta Red 1963 Fender Jazz. So 63 Fender Jazz and Fiesta Red. Again, refin. White primer. Beautifully done. And one thing I like about the relics that has come out of that is there's some people like Vince from the Fender Custom Shop, and shout out to Vince, doing some just amazing stuff, and I really enjoy those instruments. The pickguard's not original, and you can see with these covers, like I was talking about, you know, hiding the workings. You might have heard these called too ashtray covers, and that's only because a lot of guys back in the day would take these off and set them, and they'd be flipped upside down and use them as ashtrays. So that's where that name comes from. Tug bar, like I said, got the regular tuners, got our hootenanny button. Gotta have the hootenanny button. And the neck on this is just amazing. And the honest wear on that. And this bass is from 63 to 65. If you've ever heard referred to an L series bass. So the serial number starts with an L. And again, I read somewhere, and I believe this to be true, that the L was actually a mistake, I think, with the thing that stamps those. A lot of guys are like L, you know, Leo, for Leo. And that could be the case too. It's one of those things where I don't know if there's a definitive answer on that, but the L series was from 63 to 65, so pre-CBS into when CBS bought Fender. And the 65 that I have doesn't have an L plate, but there's a few 65s, and I believe those to probably be the CBS ones that were put out, don't have the L. So you will see a few in 65, but generally 63, 65 L series. And then been saving the best for last. I mean, the Brazilian Rosewood. I mean, this is just on this bass. That's the first thing I noticed. Again, even after owning this bass for a while, when we popped that case open, it's just so dark and rich and beautiful. And while we're on the subject of the neck, this has clay dots. Okay, all the basses that I've shown you before had the perloid dots. So we have clay dots, which those were used 59 to 64 were clay dots. Well, guys, that wraps it up. A big shout out to Scott's Bass Lessons and Bass Tales. I'm a big fan of them, and I'm just humbled to be a part of it. Thanks to Maddie, great camera guy, and yeah, these basses. I actually have a website you can check out, vintagebassvault.com, and from time to time I have basses for sale on there and other things, and I'm kind of building it. There's actually, I've done some podcasts, a lot of material on there, lots of pictures. You can subscribe and reach out and, you know, talk all things vintage basses. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You could hear this because it was kind of getting in my way. I like to play right over that back pickup, so I was fighting it the whole time. Okay, let's see, where are we at? We did 79, we did 67, 66, 65, 63. Oh, the Holy Grail bass. You guys ready for this? Wait, you know what? This bass deserves its own video. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to check it out later. Thanks.